All right, last month we were celebrating the 50th anniversary of man's first steps on the moon, and today a big announcement was made in the mission to return to the lunar surface by 2024.
The NASA administrator announced the news at Marshall Space Flight Center in Alabama. Houston space reporter Roseanne Aragon joins us live with the Artemis update. Roseanne?
Big news out of Huntsville, Alabama, also known as Rocket City. NASA has chosen the Marshall Space Flight Center to lead and develop the lunar lander portion of this mission. Now, this comes after several Texas lawmakers had passionately asked NASA's administrator, Jim Bridenstine, to reconsider, saying it is the Johnson Space Center that is the center for manned spaceflight exploration. In front of a giant SLS rocket hydrogen tank in Huntsville, Alabama, a huge announcement from NASA for Artemis, the mission to go to the moon and then Mars.
The Space Launch System is the world's most powerful launch vehicle ever developed.
The SLS rocket would launch the Orion capsule to Gateway, a small space station in orbit around the moon. From there, astronauts would transfer to a landing system, which would take the first woman and next man to the south pole of the moon.
That landing system is going to be led out of the Marshall Space Flight Center right here in Huntsville, Alabama.
The place where the historic Saturn V was made, an area which Bridenstine says has the best expertise on propulsion, a key factor in having the lander ferry from the lunar surface to the Gateway sustainably. The project requires a transfer module, a lander, and an ascent module.
So that's three elements. Two of those elements are highly focused on propulsion.
Noticeably absent U.S. Representative Brian Babin from Texas. Leaders say this is a unified NASA initiative.
You let JSC work the crew module. You let Marshall lead in the propulsion areas. And then you let Glenn lead in the power systems. Everybody, you let Langley lead where in LIDAR.
Leading the Human Landing System program is Huntsville native and engineer Dr. Lisa Watson-Morgan. Every NASA Space Center will be involved. Of 366 jobs, 87 will be at the Johnson Space Center.
So we love the work Johnson does, and certainly we love the history of Johnson as well.
But Texas congressmen didn't see it that way. U.S. Representative Brian Babin, Senator Ted Cruz, and Senator John Cornyn wrote a letter to Bridenstine stating, while the Marshall Space Flight Center specializes in rocketry, it is the Johnson Space Center which has been and continues to be ground zero for human space exploration. We are deeply concerned that NASA is not only disregarding this history, but that splitting up the work on the lander between two different geographic locations is an unnecessary and counterproductive element. Now, Bridenstine maintained that this was intentional, that he aims to have every one of the centers involved. Reporting live from the Johnson Space Center, Roseanne Aragon, KPRC, Channel 2 News.